Hello everyone, how's it going? We've got a special stream today. Oh, the great Brindlewood Bay Bakeoff. I'm gonna go around and we're gonna say who we are and what we're up to and maybe a little bit about our characters. And we'll start with Rex.
Hello. I am Rex at JTRex2249 on socials. I've been playing TTRPGs for years. I've been popping up on streams now and then with friends and other good folks. Friends that are good folks. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. So this is going to be very, very fun. I am playing an older lady that totally was just a secretary for 30 years over in Europe during the Cold War. Just a secretary.
Just a secretary. All right, next up we have Anna.
Who lost the mute button for a second. Hi, everybody. My name is Anna. I go by @6stringgames on the internet and kind of true to old lady form. I'm very excited because just made a game about cats. I feel like that fits with the old lady theme. However, my character tonight, Margaret Ray, would not be caught dead with pets because they are dirty and she likes her dirt to come from flower beds and juicy gossip. She is a, dressed to the nines, all up in pumps, gardening maven, and yeah, she's ready to solve some mysteries and also undercut her rivals.
Nice. Should be worried about our friends in this competition, I see. Next up, we have John.
Hello, I'm Jonathan, or Great Canadian Guy. I'm a Twitch streamer, and I have been playing tabletop games since high school, just a variety. I've got my own D&D streams on weekends, and you can find me periodically on other channels playing in games just like this. Today, I'm playing a character, Ethel Hickey, based on my own grandmother. And this is a tough old woman who lived through World War II. Her favorite things are drinking, gambling, smoking, and helping people, whether they like it or not sometimes. She has a odd habit of just describing things in this odd way as a Tracy. And here's the thing, it's not clear if that's a good thing or a bad thing, and no one's figured out who Tracy is yet. So that's something to look forward to. Other than that, she's joined up with the book club because one of her grandchildren was very concerned that she wasn't socializing enough, so that was the closest thing she could go to.
It's, in town, it's convenient. It's like the forceful helping. She was forcefully helped. Next up, we have Spencer.
Hello, I am Spencer, aka @SpencerDV8 on Twitter. Like Rex, I occasionally show up on TTRPG streams, and this one is no exception. Today, I will be playing as Gordon Graham, an older man whose one great joy in life is baking. So, hopefully that being his passion is the one thing that will give him an edge during this bake-off today.
Nice. And then the lovely Vivacia.
Hi, I'm Vivacia of Vivi. On the Twitter, I'm Miss Vivacia, MRS Vivacia. I'm kind of all over the TTRPG place, and I adore Brindlewood Bay, so today I'm going to be your keeper with all my lovelies over here, all these people that I love so much. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited too. And I'm May. This is my channel. Hello, I'm rarely ever here. I'm most often on other people's channels for their tabletop streams as of late. And I am playing Evelyn, a twice widowed housewife who has too much time on her hands and likes to leave very long voicemails to her son Jonathan. She loves scrapbooking and staring out her window to see what her neighbors are doing.
Very interesting.
And Vivi, would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Well, first, let's say today we're playing Brindlewood Bay. Now, Brindlewood Bay is a role-playing game about a group of elderly sleuths who are members of the local Murder Maven Mystery Book Club. This Mystery Book Club is meeting on the top floor of the Candlelight Booksellers every Saturday evening, and it's been going on for like 10 years. And they're particularly fond of one specific series, which is about the globe-trotting super sleuth Amanda Delacourt, and it's the Gold Crown Mystery Series. So that is how they all got together. Now, this game has been inspired mostly by the television show Murder, She Wrote, but it also takes some H.P. Lovecraft in it, because there's a kind of a darker undercurrent. We could look at it. Brindlewood Bay is basically a small coastal community in Massachusetts. It used to be a whaling town in the 18th and 19th century. Now it's largely a tourist spot. And many of the locals have, turned their homes into bed and breakfasts. The town has like all these antique shops, the dining spots, artisans, all of that. And there's also like a whole bunch of guided fishing trips and all of that. So it's a very cozy place. Well, mostly. Now, the tone of this game will bounce between the cozy and the creepy. It's going to be more cozy than creepy most of the time. It's going to be fairly lighthearted, but occasionally it might get a little dark and menacing because, if they put on the void crowns and we find out a little bit about why all these murders are happening in Brindlewood Bay. Now, sometimes the subject matter might get a little darker because, this is about a murder, but mostly it's going to be fun. It's just going to be fun. What we're going to do in the very beginning, we're going to meet all our murder mavens in how they are enjoying their life in Brindlewood Bay, in their cozy places, and we're going to go around and everybody will introduce their characters in these spots. How are they enjoying their retired life? And just give us a little vignette of their life in Brindlewood Bay. May, would you like to start off?
Sure. Is it because I've done this before?
Oh, it's because you're first on the overlay on when I see you.
Oh, that was my fault then. I made it. All right. Well, we find Evelyn in her kitchen. She's pretty excited for this the bake show that's coming to town, and unfortunately, she got a lot of bananas in her latest grocery order. You go to select one bunch, and then they're like, oh, do you want one banana? And they're like, no, I want one bunch. So the one time that you say, I want 4 bananas, they say, oh, do you mean 4 bunches? So with the lots of bananas, true story, this happened on Monday, she is going to be making a lot of banana cream pies. And she's not really known too much for her baking, but she's dedicated, if anything else. And pies, multitudes of them, it's a reason to stop in at the neighbors and see what they're up to. So I imagine over the last week or so, she's been delivering a lot of pies to the neighbors.
I can imagine that. So, what did Evelyn do before she retired?
She helped her previous husbands with things. Her last husband, he owned a small newspaper, which fit right up there with her nosiness. She kind of was a secretary. She helped a little with investigative journalism. Helped. and you know, she didn't really have like an official job. Her son told her basically to stop coming into work.
That is really nice. All right, Spencer, how do we see Gordon enjoying his time in Brindlewood Bay?
As described earlier, he is just in his kind of smaller home, just baking away. The one truly expensive thing he has in his house is his oven. He's currently in the process of making Italian Easter bread, which takes a very long time to make. Traditional loaves, as I've found out, take up to 18 hours to make. So he's probably very much in the middle of this process still. He's using the finest ingredients that he can find in his house. Might be adding like a little bit of brandy to it to give a bit of a kick. And yeah, he's just standing there in the process of making his little Italian Easter bread.
So has Gordon been married, or was he single most of his life?
I think he's probably been married once before. It was one of those things where he got married too soon, and it didn't last long, and he kind of just been single since.
Any children?
He probably had one kid in that marriage, and that probably gave him like a couple grandkids.
Ooh, well, that sounds nice. All right, Rex. Let us know, how is Nelka enjoying her retirement? You're muted, my love.
Oh, I have to do that at least once per stream. She is busy filling her townhome with antiques. Some she came with, some she's buying, some she's having shipped from other places all over the world. It would be a common sight to see like a truck carrying in like a shipping crate with like words and custom stickers and things in other languages all over them, you know, Spanish, French, Czech, Polish. And I think at the moment, while she has some babka in the oven, she is currently directing two young men with like a big piece of old antique furniture, just like that really old couch that has like very little padding and is mostly just like really dense wood and weighs 1,000 pounds. And she's trying to get them to carry it up her drive into the front door, and she's micromanaging the hell out of them, because if they dent it, that's like $6,000 off the value of this piece of furniture that, you know, some duke or duchess somewhere owned.
So, what did Nelka do before she retired?
She was a secretary at NATO headquarters in Brussels from the 70s to the early 2000s until she retired.
Very nice. Very nice. Does she have any children?
No.
She does. Definitely sounds like she's on top of things.
Yeah, her and her husband didn't want kids. He was a army officer, so she has like that giant shadow box full of like veteran mementos from her husband, and some are probably also from her, but they're very vague in who these things were from. Yeah.
Probably a trillion coins.
Oh yeah, she has 1,000 man coins.
You know,
Ships,
you always get
bases, yeah, from bases that don't exist anymore. All kinds of things like that.
That's amazing. All right, Anna, how is Margaret enjoying her time in Brindlewood Bay?
Margaret is definitely more of an outdoors person than an indoors one. So this whole like baking for a bake-off thing is a little bit new to her. It's a little bit outside of her comfort zone. But what is not outside of her comfort zone is competition. So she has decided to do something perhaps a little more ambitious than she should. This is based off of a real thing that Anna was impressed by as a child. She's baking a cake that is in the shape of a giant lamb. Like it's getting carved to look three-dimensional, like an actual lamb, and painstakingly putting a bajillion different mini marshmallows on the outside of it to create three-dimensional sheep wool texture, and then make all the other facial features out of candy. So she's probably currently in the kitchen with the like burned out husk of an electric mixer and several decidedly not stereotypically grandmotherly words coming out of her mouth right now, but it's okay. She's super competitive. She has made sure that she has plenty of time for a dress rehearsal before she has to do the real thing.
And what did Margaret do before she retired to Brindlewood Bay?
Margaret used to be a music teacher. She went around for a bunch of different age groups, teaching little kids like the very basics of rhythm before she settled as a choral director at a high school. And Margaret never got married, although she had a longtime partner named Olivia who passed away a few years ago. No kids, but she's definitely the kind of person that's like, my students are my kids, and I don't need them to come home with me. I like having them at school and then my own time.
And then the parents got to take them back.
Yep. Okay, time for you to go home.
Yes. All right, John, how is Ethel enjoying her time?
Well, Ethel's life never really... Like, she didn't really retire as much as stopped having children live with her. Ethel is been a housewife most of her life and a community leader in like small town northern New Brunswick in Canada. Sorry, I'm getting like an echo. Anyway, that threw me right off.
That's okay.
All right. Ethel, in her kitchen, right, Bakeoff. So, she's standing in her kitchen, smoking a cigarette with the window open. In the other room, she's just kind of half listening to reruns of The Young and the Restless. She's got her fourth tray of cookies on. They're all exactly the same kind of cookie, the same recipe she's been using since 1967. And they're all of exactly equal proportion, thanks to cookie cutters, this wonderful invention she picked up back in the 70s. So like I said, she's been a housewife and community leader most of her life. She's still in regular contact with all of her 8 children and her just innumerable grandchildren. Just impossible number of them, honestly. Spends most of her time in her room, in her apartment rather, which is one of the reasons she ended up joining the book club, because one of her grandchildren was very insistent that she socialize a bit more with people her own age. So here she is, having her smoke, working on the cookies, listening to The Young and the Restless.
That is definitely, what I can imagine her doing. I have it in my face. All right, so now that we know, these are our murder mavens. There are some of the murder mavens. There's more of them, but this is the group that we have today. Now, for our mystery today, the mystery today is the Great Brindlewood Bay Bakeoff. So the most popular television program in the world, the Jolly Good Baking Show, is coming to Brindlewood Bay to find the town's very best baker. There have already been a whole bunch of qualifying rounds, and our murder mavens have actually made it through to the final, the televised portion of the show, and they'll meet the presenter, and have the judges that are so celebrities and notoriously strict, and that's Jane Leave and Paul Riviera. So everybody is super excited, which is why they're all practicing and baking. Now, imagine they set up in like probably the community center or like a bed and breakfast where there's space enough, that everybody can do it. I would think it's probably like a community center, and they where they do cooking classes and stuff like that. I don't know if they have a high school with home ed, where they would have enough, ovens and stuff like that. And as we imagine, the camera is swooping in. Everything's busy. Everybody is at their stations. There is Sue Mellon, the presenter. She's boisterous. She used to be a successful comedian in the UK, and she really, makes all these weird little punny jokes, and she just has this big personality for such a tiny person. And she's saying, all right, bakers, let us be a warning to you. We only have a little bit time remaining in this round, and all our mavens are rushing around their stations, trying to get ready. Now, we're gonna go, you know what, we're just gonna keep that. We're gonna say, May, how's Evelyn doing? How's Evelyn doing with, making her dessert? Is she holding it together? Is everything working out? Or is she just like...
I imagine she feels like she thinks she's keeping it together. Her confidence does her credit. But she's... things look a hot mess all over her station. It's gonna be a miracle if she pulls this off.
Right, so she's very, very, very frazzled. Alright, so as Evelyn is trying so hard to get all of these over, these the elderly and posh Jane Leaf, the judge, just walks over and looks, and she looks like such a sweet lady. She's like, "Don't fret, dear. It will have a perfectly adequate taste. It just looks a little informal." And she walks away.
Daggers. Just daggers. She's like mixing. She's not really watching where things are going. She's just staring daggers, like informal.
All right, and for our viewers, if you look down, our characters are on our clue board, on our murder mosaic. I don't know, conspiracy board, however you wanna call it. So next, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, how's Gordon holding up?
Oh, cool as a cucumber, at least on the outside. He is in the process of making sort of like this. I talked about brandy once, so it's just going to be a focal point now. Is working on basically simmering down some brandy to make a sauce for one of the sauce glaze, whatever. I know baking terminology. For the sort of cake he's working on, it's nothing extravagant in presentation, but he is more focusing on the taste of it to bring him forward in the competition.
Right. So, as Gordon is, focusing really hard because, he wants this to be the highest quality. He's so focused on it. Suddenly, Paul Rivera, the steely-eyed, silver-haired judge, walks up and looks over his shoulder. And he's a pretty blunt person. He's like, huh. I hope it will taste better than it looks. And he walks off.
Young people these days. And he just cracks his knuckles and goes back to work.
All right, Rex. How's Nelka doing? You muted
There we
again.
go.
There you go.
Nelka is got everything precisely organized. Everything is measured out perfectly. There's not a spot of flour on her apron or her black turtleneck. And she is just calculating everything with absolute focus and a steely gaze.
Ooh, I can really see that in my eyes. Now, in the station next to you is another Brindlewood Bay citizen. Her name is Melanie Blair. She seems pretty frazzled. She's very sensibly dressed, and she got like flour everywhere. It's like all kinds of messy. And Nako knows that Melanie has lived in Brindlewood Bay her whole life, and she's just like so nervous, and she keeps chattering. She's like, yeah, I know, you know what, I really do love Paul Rivera. You know what, I know that when, you know, his bakery chain opened here, you know, that my parents' bakery went out of business, but you know what, I don't really mind because he's so amazing, and I really want to impress him. And she just keeps babbling at Nelka.
And eventually Nelka just looks up and kind of gives Melanie this look. She likes Melanie, but she kind of gives her this motherly look, and she's like, "Oh, sweetheart." And she says "sweetheart" without any kind of actual judgmentalness or anything. Like, she genuinely means it. She's like, I have met many men like Paul Rivera who think they are worth more than they are, and most of them are dead now. So don't give him too much credit.
It totally didn't sound like Nelka is the one who put them underground. Nope, not at all. Yeah, and she's just like, yeah, she's just like trying to, you know, wipe her kind of frizzy hair, and you know, she's leaving like flour all over it, and she's like, if you say so, Miss Nelka, if you say so. And she tries to focus on the pie that she's trying to make. Right, so Anna, how's Margaret doing?
Well, Margaret's not doing so hot, but despite her best efforts to keep cool under pressure, she is actually beginning to glisten a little. She never truly sweats, she just glistens. But the heat in the kitchen is getting turned up to the point where the marshmallows that she's affixing to the outside of the cake shaped like a three-dimensional lamb are beginning to sort of melt and slide off a little bit like the icing in the candles slide off the cake in the animated Sleeping Beauty. So in a fit of desperation, just out of just sheer desperation to get these marshmallows to stick in one place, she starts rummaging around in the sort of kitchen supply area here and pulls out a blowtorch because she hopes that if she can caramelize the marshmallows, they'll just all stick together enough to be attached to each other and be like draped over the cake, and no one will feel bad about it, because yeah, there are brown sheep, right? There are sheep that are not just white and fluffy. Sheep are a little grayish after they've been out in the pasture for a while, so this is just realism. She's going for gritty sheep realism with this cake. Making it work.
Yeah, so as Margaret is fighting really hard and making it work, she notices that Heath Hendricks, the producer, is like waving his hardest at Buck, the camera operator, to make sure that he gets you with the blowtorch. And as Heath is like, he's a stern person, he's really balding, and you know, he keeps looking at Buck and doing the you know. And he's lucky that Buck is so good humored and like, you know. Sometimes, you know, he'll be sounding all poetic or like being all like philosophical, you know. I guess he has to be that chill to work with Heath. But yeah, Heath is like, on her, come on, blowtorch. We need a blowtorch. All right, how's Ethel doing? She knows that there's no smoking in this area, and especially not on TV.
Oh yeah, no, Ethel looks like someone who hasn't had a smoke in 3 hours. No, she's relatively composed because despite everything, this isn't 8 kids. So, of course, being the stubborn one-note granny that she is in the kitchen, she made the cookies again. They were good enough last time; they'll be good enough this time. She did realize that somewhere along the line, everyone else was still busy with their baking when she was finished. So she since tracked down some icing and put smiley faces on them.
I love that. So while Ethel is doing that, right next to her on another station is another contestant. It's Scott Lamp. Everything on Scott's station is organized. It's like little soldiers. Actually, Ethel knows that Scott doesn't actually really live in Brindlewood Bay, but technically they rented him an apartment so he could participate again. He was already on a different episode and they wanted him to come back, so they made sure that he would count as a resident of Brindlewood Bay. And he just looks at Ethel and the smiley faces, and he is kind of like, you know, never mind. Just never mind. I got to really focus on my pie crust. I really got to make sure this pie crust is neat and firm, because that's how Paul likes it. You do not want to have a soggy bottom on a pie crust. He is definitely exactly the opposite of who Ethel is. Now that everybody is almost done, Heath calls a short break for everybody. So that everybody's like leaning against the station. Oh, you know, the presenter, the judges, they all kind of, you know, move on to their trailers, you know, take a little break, get their noses powdered, and suddenly Donna Rivera, the wife of Paul Rivera, she's a bottle blonde, leopard print, that kind of person, comes running into the community center, and she is screaming, "Oh no! He's dead! Who would kill him? I can't believe somebody would kill him!" And she faints.
You okay, honey?
What are you guys doing?
Oh, Ethel just runs over and actually like checks on her, see if she's breathing, checks her pulse.
Who's dead this time?
Gordon has kind of ignored the fact that there's a break, and he's so zoned into his cake that he's kind of just like, he's basically like cutting the cake to make it look very geometrical and flower-like, and he's still like working on cutting it. And he looks up once he sees that like everybody else has stopped. What happened? And
is she
Ethel
breathing?
She is. As you kind of, you're probably doing like, I'm guessing because she's a little rough.
Get some Leonard's ointment in there. I'll make you feel a lot better.
And
get Leonard's ointment.
And Donna's, eyes kind of go, "Oh, he's in his trailer. I can't believe he's dead. Somebody call the police." And Heath starts screaming and yelling, and Buck is just like, Well, I guess everybody will have to go on some point. Huh. So, the competition comes to a screeching halt. They call the cops. You guys have all your, you finish up of your baking. You set it aside. It's not going to be as fresh anymore. And while Donna is just sitting there, now with her handkerchief, just like, oh my god, trying to fix her makeup because piles of makeup. It's like Melanie is like pulling on her hair. Who would do this? Who would do Paul? Why Paul? As finally the sheriff Wyman Dalrymple enters the scene.
What a name.
I know.
That is a name.
Wyman Dalrymple.
Yes. And he walks over to the trailer, opens it up, and looks in. He's not blocking y'all's way.
Yeah, Evelyn would definitely be like,
I told you these type of men never last very long. And it's not the cigarettes or the booze that kills them, it's usually somebody else.
So as Evelyn scooches closer, and the sheriff just stands in this trailer, hands on his hip, like, huh. Well, never seen this before. So when Evelyn peeks in, she sees
a dead body or a trailer.
Dead body in a trailer. And she sees, Paul Rivera, the Silver Fox, dead in his trailer. His face is covered with flour. His hands are tied behind his back with beautifully plaited nylon cords.
Real question is, how did nobody hear this?
Evelyn can't really
Margaret
see how he died either.
I was gonna say, when you say how did nobody hear this, Margaret looks at the blowtorch, realizes she's still holding it, and then just sort of tries to just, yep, nothing to see here. We're all just a little bit busy. Did you say there was no obvious sign of an injury or a struggle or something?
Just that he is covered in flour, and his hands are tied behind his back, and he's dead. That is a doornail. And suddenly the sheriff swings around. I guess he smelled Evelyn's amazing perfume, looks at her and says, "You again. Let me guess, the other mavens are here too."
well, we're part of the competition, so yes.
All right. Let me guess. If I ask you to stay out of this, you won't listen. Again.
Accurate.
Pretty
probably.
much.
Yeah.
So our tax dollars do pay your salary, so we don't really have to. Technically, we're your bosses.
Margaret has a point.
Technically.
If
For once, she does.
And he's like, all right. And he takes off his head and he just wipes the sweat. All right. I'll take any kind of help I can get. This is going to be a big deal. This is an international TV show. You guys are already here. You were here the whole time. I know none of y'all crazy people did this. You've solved too many murders in this place already. I'll take any help you can get. All right? So, and especially, y'all gonna be able to talk to people in a different way than they will talk to me. They might not tell me.
It's true. Maybe you can focus your efforts on securing the community center, and maybe giving us a list of if anyone's left since now.
Very good. And as you guys are talking to the sheriff Wyman Dalrymple. Mr. Dalrymple. Heath Hendricks, the producer, comes up, and he's all kinds. He's like, I can't believe this, and we still have to finish the show. Can we still do this? Clearly, he wasn't killed in the community center. We were all there. And the sheriff is like, y'all can't leave anyways. You might as well keep filming. I mean, at least y'all not going to be in my way.
Well, who's going to replace him as a judge?
And Heath is like, well, we'll figure that out. Maybe we'll just have Donna do it. And he like kind of stomps off and starts yelling for Buck. And the sheriff is like, you know what? As long as y'all here and you're doing this, at least none of them can leave. They're not even going to try and leave. Also, if you can solve this without making a big deal out of it, that would be amazing. Because you know what? I'm up for re-election next year, and this would not look good. It would not look good.
Why don't you solve the murder yourself then, you?
Why don't you just, Hercule Poirot? Is that how it's said? I don't know. I don't read
Poirot, darling. Poirot.
Your great-great-grandmother was a witch.
Yeah, I knew a Poirot back in Ash Creek.
Great-great-grandson was a ne'er-do-well.
Great-great-grandson? Hold on. I'm not that old.
Sorry, great-great-grandfather. I'm in my prime. I don't know what you're talking about.
Margaret, are you forgetting how Ancestry works again?
That's not important right now. What is important is the fact that somebody has been murdered.
So who is this Jim Rivers fella anyway?
Who?
Jim Rivers?
She's got the name totally wrong.
Yeah, it's like...
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Jim Rivers.
She doesn't know who that is.
I think that's a news anchor on Channel 7. Is it Channel 9?
So what was the news anchor hosting the show for?
And the sheriff is just like, all right. I'm gonna close off this trailer with Mr. Rivera's body. Mr. Paul Rivera, the judge of this competition.
We already established that. Good job.
And he makes this little shoo-in motion. He's like, as long as you stay away from this trailer and you don't leave the vicinity, go. Just keep these people out of my hair. Now, if you look around, this is the community center, and set up by the community centers are multiple trailers. There is Paul Rivera's trailer that he shares with his wife, Donna Rivera. She's like a celebrity. She used to be, on the Real Housewives of Liverpool. So she's she's kind of a celebrity. She thinks more of herself, So, but because she's not actually on the show, she doesn't get her own trailer. So Paul is like sharing with her, so she doesn't get offended. Then there is Sue's trailer. The presenter, used to be a comedian. There is also Jane's trailer. Jane Leaf, the sweet-looking, very judgmental judge. Also, outside of the community center, they set up the judge's tent. Normally, in the Jolly Baking Show, it would be decorated to look like a quaint cottage somewhere in the English countryside, but it's given like an American flair.
So lots of flags everywhere.
Yeah.
Ooh,
what do you think they did on the inside to make it look like it has American flair?
Instead of antlers.
It's the classic, like, Jersey Shore at the 4th of July, those, like, red, white, and blue buntings just hanging out of every balcony.
Oh my
But
God.
even not around the 4th of July, just all year round for no damn reason.
A random
Plus
neon
antlers.
line flashing on and off that the kitchen is open. It doesn't go with anything,
Yes.
but it's there.
Yes.
There's
Here's
also
the
one that's like a neon
flagpole.
sign for alcohol too. For some reason, there's like a Bud Light neon sign hanging there.
Generic
There's
beer.
the flagpole with the overly artistic eagle sculpture, like, on the top that's way too big for the top of the flagpole.
It leans like 3 degrees to one side.
Yep. And next to it, an Eagles poster.
Wait, the Philadelphia Eagle?
Philadelphia
or the
Eagles?
Yankee Eagle?
The Canadian, the American band, the Eagles, the big famous one.
I just had to clarify.
Like how Spencer
They have
and
the
I
best-selling
immediately
album
both
of all
went
time. It
NFL,
seems like
no
an American
question.
thing.
Yes.
So basically, you have the community center, which is the set where you guys where they were filming the different rounds. Now this round was your specialty. There's supposed to be 2 more rounds. One would be biscuits, and another one would be cakes. But the first round was your specialty. So again, the community center with the set, outside, the multiple trailers, and the judge's tent where the judging is gonna happen. So everybody else is kind of heading back inside to film the next round, because they're gonna film all of the rounds first, and then go to the judging after.
How is Donna handling this news?
She's just sitting. She's pretty crying. Not the sobbing kind of crying. She's trying not to ruin her makeup, and she's like dabbing her eyes, and she's talking to Buck, the camera operator, and she's, I can't believe somebody would kill him. Like, mind you, he was always doing my head in. If anyone had a reason to sack him off, it's me, but I didn't do it. And now, if you'll excuse me, I really need a bifter and a bevy to take the edge of, like, I don't know. I just don't know why anybody would do this.
Oh, Donna, if you're having such a hard day, just think about the insurance payout.
And Donna is just like, she stops, like,
Don't you have a life insurance policy on your husband?
how dare you? My husband just died. I don't care about the money.
In response
And she like
to
turns around and she
Nelka.
stalks off. And Bug, who was like petting her hand, he's like, well, I mean, you're right, but it was kind of insensitive, Miss Nelka.
The sensitive isn't in my vocabulary.
You just said it.
Truth. Bug says, truth. Yeah, I see where this is coming from. And in the background, the producer is like, Buck, get over here. We got to get ready for the next round. So while you guys were doing that, the little minions cleaned up all your stations, got your beautiful creations to the judge's tent and set them aside. Now, before they start, what would you like to do?
I have a question.
Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
Yes,
you
my
go
love.
first, Spencer.
In response to like Nelka's line of questioning, Gordon's gonna pull out probably like a way outdated smartphone, and he's going to Google Paul Riviera's net worth.
Yes.
Well,
Types in google.com.
Yeah,
probably a
just
couple
Google.
million. Probably a couple million.
Ooh.
I mean,
Euros.
could be.
Or no, pound, right? Pound.
Oh,
They still do
God.
pound, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
He'll He'll walk over to Nelka. It's like, I mean, it could be some motive for the payout, but I mean, it's not a lot.
Well, people have killed for less.
Very true.
Plus, it's probably more money than an aging reality star like her has seen in a while. I mean, she had a run
She's
on a
probably
television
thousands of
show.
dollars
And...
She's probably thousands of dollars in debt at Sephora as well.
I would not be surprised.
It's just one of those things where, like, she's having in a hush conversation where she was having an affair, but she had him, so he wouldn't find out, or
well, from what I saw, there's some very fancy nylon rope that his hands were tied. Maybe she caught him in an affair.
This is why you always have a safe word.
Don't know if you could hear anything through all that flour.
Exactly. There is the question of the flour. I wonder what kind of flour it was. That might end up being important.
Well, people do use food during activities, but flour seems counterproductive.
Dry. Seems dry.
that seems like
Grating.
a way to drive
But if
your
it was
partner blind.
Get down
If
with
Oh,
it
that's
was
an
a-
excellent idea. Maybe that was a way that they disabled him or got him to not be able to fight back because they threw flour in his eyes.
But you see, that's where I'm saying the type of it might wind up being important. Now, if this was just your garden variety all-purpose flour, all of us have access to this. But who's using whole grain? Who's using that, like, Bob's Red Mill millet seed type things? You know what I'm saying? If it was like a really particular type of specialty flour all over his face, maybe that connects us to, well, a potential suspect.
It's true. We
We're
are
in
doing
Massachusetts.
biscuits.
There's 47 different mills everywhere.
So while you guys are huddling and talking about this, suddenly you hear Heath calling, "All right, 10 minutes, and we'll start the next round. Walk it off, go to the bathroom. I'll let you know when we start." We've got 15 minutes.
This seems a little, like, cold, doesn't it? I mean, Amanda's down there like, oh, we're just gonna keep on filming, like...
Show gotta go on. Show must go on,
Well, you know
right?
the way they are. They're all greedy.
Maybe someone's trying to cover up the fact that they took flour. Because the biscuit round's up next, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the biscuit round is up next.
It
I
is.
have an idea.
Yes.
I'm going to try and see if I can circumvent that annoying sheriff over there and see if I can get into the trailer or near enough to find a trace of that flour. And then
All
she's
right.
just like, oh yes, the bathroom! What a good idea! You know how we are around here, always on our feet, always staying well hydrated. So well hydrated. Just walking off towards the trailer.
All right, so I will call that a day move, but it's kind of risky. Now,
Okay, yeah.
what would you be afraid what would happen if you fail or lose your nerve while you're trying to get past the sheriff?
I don't think Margaret is afraid of losing her nerve, but I do think that she's afraid of not being the most in charge person in the scenario, right? Like, she wants to have the upper hand against the sheriff, not just because she wants to look at this flower, but also because she wants to show that she's better than him. Because she is. Why wouldn't she be?
All right, so I would say roll me a check on composure to see if you can if she can hold it together and like sneak her way past him.
Okay. So 2d6.
+1.
Ooh, that is
Because-
11.
Ooh, very nice.
I have a 1 in composure.
Okay, so which would mean 3. D6. Yes. Since you rolled over a 10, you absolutely do what you're intending to do. Describe what it looks like when you sneak past the sheriff. Sheriff Wyman Dalrymple. I have to say this name again.
Sheriff
I have to.
Wyman Dalrymple. So I still have the blowtorch in my hand. What I want to do is sneak up past the sheriff by creating a small fire. Seems a bit extreme for what it is that I'm trying to do. I just take the blowtorch and pull like a little hanky out of my pocket, ignite it, and then toss it onto the ground. Now this is going to be completely consumed by fire, but it's going to cause just enough of a distraction that hopefully he'll smell it or be like, "What's that I smell?" And then I can just dash past him in a speed walking way and get to this trailer. That's the goal here.
All right. So
Just
you distract him, and since when you are heading inside the trailer, are you gonna search for some clues?
Yes.
All right. Now, for Brindlewood Bay, that is called the meddling move. The meddling move is like the backbone of Brindlewood Bay. Basically, you describe how you want to do this. Then you roll with an appropriate ability, and I will let you know what kind of clue you find, which is random. I do not know what clue it's going to be, as none of us, neither me, nobody knows who did this or how they did it. That's the fun.
So I want to, focusing on the idea of the flower, I want to see if I can figure out what type it is, if there's any sort of footprints in it or any indications. Think of how people do blood splatter analysis, but flower splatter analysis. Was this something that was just thrown around randomly? Was it dumped? Did somebody sneeze and it just whoosh everywhere? Because that's, what if there's flower handprints on the walls or something like that's what I'm looking for. It's just the most wholesome.
I'm thinking that would be reason.
Reason, yeah, definitely a piece it all together. So I have a 1 in reason. Does that mean I roll an extra die, or does that mean I add 1?
That means you
I think it was add 1 to the roll.
Yeah,
but...
plus 1. Yeah.
Okay, but it's +1, not +1 die. Got it.
Yes.
Oh, that's also an 11. Wow.
Oh, look at
Don't get used to it. This is not normal for me.
Yes, that definitely works. You describe how you go about trying to figure this out. How are you looking at it?
I think, how do I want to do this? Okay, yeah, given that this is, a filming related event that we're at, right? And Margaret is not the most tech savvy of people, but she does know how to take pictures. So she pulls a large phone, a phablet, if you will, out of her pocket and basically starts using the camera of it as a magnifying glass. If this was a CSI type TV show, we would immediately go to some weird animation of the molecular structure of the flower and be yes, we can see here that this pattern that's clearly just drawn onto the screen, it means something. So she's kind of going a little CSI here with the magnification on her camera phone.
You definitely find your clue. Let me roll and see what clue it's going to be.
Okay.
All right. You find. That is interesting. When you look at Paul's corpse, you realize that his lips are starting to get discolored, and all the places where the flower has hit are starting to get a little discolored. With your reason, you think that might be poison.
Yes. Well, I mean, he certainly
add that to
wasn't
the clue
murdered by
board.
someone kissing him to death. I mean, ugh. What a sleazeball. I will leave the trailer and report my findings back to the other ladies, since we only have a little bit of time left before we have to start baking.
All right. What are the other ladies doing?
Evelyn wants to see if she can find a stock list of, like, if she goes to, like, the stock room or like the pantry of, like, where all the flowers and all the other ingredients, if there's like a item inventory list that she can kind of like check against.
All right. So I would think that would probably be in the community center, somewhere in the area. Let's see. So I would think that would probably be. How is she trying to get in there? How is she trying to make it that she can just walk into where all the ingredients are being kept? Because, that's not really the area that the contestants are supposed to be in.
She's checking to see if she had a request for a certain kind of gluten-free flour. Because if she's taste testing what she's making and it's the wrong flour, it could have some unfortunate consequences.
All right. So she's basically just talking about that and walking straight in.
Yeah, like if anyone stops her, she's gonna be like, well, so and she's gonna try and get her way around not wanting to broach that subject of unfortunate consequences.
Yeah, I'm thinking that would be a day move and with presence.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Nine.
All right. So, yes. But this kind of leaves you vulnerable to the other contestants kind of looking at you, especially Scott Lamb, very suspiciously. And if you do go through with actually going in there, he might not trust you much in the future. Now you can decide to go through with this, or you can try a different thing.
Yeah, she's not worried if she if poor little Scott there doesn't trust her anymore.
All right, so yeah, Scott is definitely watching you like, what is she doing over there? She's no reason to be in there, nosy old woman. So, and when you go in there and you start looking, go ahead and roll me the meddling move and let's say reason, because you're trying to figure out who ordered flour and what kind of flour is needed here.
That would be 8.
An 8. All right. So, there's been a complication. It's like, yes, there's a whole bunch of flour on the list, but it's all basically the same. It's like there's certain kinds that you use for a cake or one that you use for a thing, but there's no specific ones that anybody uses a very specific flour that you can discern from these orders. So you could probably discern which round the flour the flour was supposed to be used for, so you would know what it would have been used for to bake, would have been for the biscuits to cookies, or would have been like for the cakes. But nobody has like that one specific flour that you could pick for somebody, you know, and say, "Ha, that is what they used." So how does Evelyn react to not getting her way?
She's gonna walk out of the area, but like acting a lot more confident that she didn't like really find out anything. She's gonna have a air of like she knows something, even though she doesn't.
So while these two were doing that, were you guys, your others were Nelka, Gordon, Ethel, were you guys like checking out the other trailers? Were you just hanging around? Were you chatting up some of the suspects?
I was wondering, sorry, go ahead.
You go. I was just thinking.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, since the the next round is coming up, and that it's already been indicated that's like where most of the flour is going to be used. Like, I'm just wondering if maybe take a look around the floor to see if any of them are already open, how many of them are sealed. Like, at least narrow it down to like whose could have been opened, whose could have been tampered with.
Okay, so I'll definitely call that a meddling move, and I would say reason. Let's see if you can find some clues.
All right, let's go for it.
2d6 plus your modifier.
2d6 plus 1. I got 10.
Ooh. All right, that's good. Yes, you do find a clue. Let me bring out the beautiful die. All right. While you are looking around, you realize that there's a baking sheet discarded in one of the side rooms that nobody really uses. There's just like open empty boxes and stuff like it. There's a baking sheet.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go and pick it up.
All right. When you get close, you see that it's kind of covered in flour and something that Ethel immediately realizes the smell of. It's rat poison.
Is that warfarin?
Yeah.
No, she says out loud to herself, "Is that warfarin?" It's a brand of rat poison.
Ah. And behind Ethel is what was her name? Oh, Melanie. Melanie steps up. You know, she's the one where her parents owned a bakery, and she's like, "Rat poison? Why would there be rat poison on a baking sheet?" You know, her hair's like all kinds, and she's like nervous, and you could tell she was chewing on her nails. Like, why would there be rat poison? Rat poison? And she's just like grabbing onto you, like, are they trying to kill all of us?
Well, get your hands off of me, you.
Mimi.
So do you know who put the bacon sheet in here?
I have absolutely no clue. I've not really paid attention. This seems to be like the trash room. It's like there's just empty boxes in here. And she's like, I got to check my ingredients. This is just... And she like bustles off to check and make sure that there's no rat poison in her flour.
Okay. Ethel's gonna gather up the... she's gonna try to put on some gloves or something to cover her hands in the vicinity. Pick up the baking sheet, try to bundle it up with some of the rat poison in the flour, and bring it to the other mavens.
All right. While that was happening, what was Gordon doing?
If he is able, he's gonna go try and find and talk with Donna. Because in his mind, she is prime suspect number 1.
All right, so when you're heading out, because she walked out after Nelka got to her, she just walked out, and since she can't go back into her trailer, she has sat down with Jane, the prim and proper judge, and they're sitting in front of the trailer, and Jane is just like patting her head and saying, "There, dear, there. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna suck. Yeah, it's gonna suck, but there, you're gonna be fine. Maybe we should have some tea. You want a cup? What's Gordon gonna do?"
Well, probably not so shy. They'll be like, "Hope I'm not interrupting something. Could I ask you like a couple questions about all this, Donna?"
Oh, and Donna's like, okay. I'm not quite sure what you would like to know, but yes.
I mean, I guess the more obvious question, I'm sure our wonderful sheriff has already asked you, but is there anyone you know directly that would want to kill your husband?
I mean, he could play kind of hardball, but I don't. And then Jane just kind of does that old lady. Absolutely. I mean, all our contracts are up, and everybody was getting frustrated with his hardball techniques of negotiating. I mean, he did not want to, give any of us, an extra penny if he could.
Wasn't talking to you, but thank you. Anyone that was here today?
And Donna kind of looks at you like, okay, she's totally not used to anybody giving Jane lip. People just don't really do that. And Donna's like, oh, well, if you consider this negotiations motive, then all of us, well, as Miss Naka said, yes, me too, because he does have a life insurance policy, and everybody on the show was trying to figure out, will there be another season? What is going to be the pay? What is going to be the royalties? All of this stuff that I really don't care about. So, yeah, I mean, all of us, I guess.
I mean, has viewership for this fallen in the past few years, Mrs. Riviera?
I mean, no, they've been doing amazing. I mean, both Jane and Paul have been sold cookbooks and made television appearances all over the place. I mean, this show is seriously the most watched cooking competition all over the world.
Well, I mean, then if that's the case, why are people so worried about if there's going to be another season or not?
Well, it's mostly because Paul doesn't want to pay them more. And he keeps saying that really, he could replace all of us. Or all of them. He would not replace me. I'm his wife. Was his wife. Well, he said he is basically the draw of the show. He could replace all of us. And Jane is just like, could not replace me. I've had a career of nearly 60 years. I've written and published dozens of cookery books. I made hundreds of television appearances. I'm like, I am just really frustrated with his tactics. I mean, couldn't he have just, bent a little? This could have already been settled.
Right. In his head, he's like, okay, well, there's 2 prime suspects. Alright. Hey, if everybody here wanted to kill him, I guess there's... really narrows it down. Icy thinks back to seeing the flower on his face, because he doesn't know what Ethel's found yet.
Yeah.
Is there any particular type of flower that Paul might have been allergic to?
I don't think he was allergic against anything. I mean, he loved all sweets.
I mean, right, but there are plenty of people who, you know, might be something along the lines of like lactose intolerant that still eat ice cream, that kind of thing.
No,
saying
no,
there could be some...
he was healthy as a horse, and he tried all of these you know, desserts and all of these over his career, and he's been cooking. No, he's not that I know of that he's allergic against anything.
When she says like healthy as a horse, he kind of gives her that look of like, was he really?
She's like, is there anything else, Mr. Gordon?
I guess not for the moment, at least. Thank you for
Please
your
leave
time.
me to my grief. Please leave me to my grief. I don't know why you keep asking me all these questions. She kind of daps her eyes again.
Hearing her talk, does she sound like genuinely in grief, or is it more like, I don't know, is she putting on airs, I guess?
You know what? I would call that a meddling move.
Ooh, boy.
I would call this a meddling move. I would say that should be a reason roll.
Okay.
See if you can figure out if you know.
2d6 plus 1. That will be a 7.
A 7. Right. So, you are not 100% sure. You think it's a mixture. You think it was a shock, but she's not super sad. She's acting a little bit. You think Gordon thinks that she is acting like she thinks a widow should act, like she's playing a part. You think she was shocked, but you know she's not all that sad that he's gone.
Interesting. Okay. I guess the one question I'll ask before he walks out of the trailer and goes to the other mavens, is she still wearing the wedding ring on her hand?
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of those big. It's one of those big, you know, flashing ones.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Probably only still wearing it because it's flashy, and he'll leave.
All right. So, for this clue, I don't really have to roll. I will just say your clue is she's not all that sad that he's dead, and you also figured out that everybody's contract was up for renewal, and Paul was playing hardball. He was trying to keep everybody's salaries as low as he could, and people were getting frustrated with him.
Interesting.
All right, Miss Nelka, what were you doing?
Yeah, gosh, I'm eventually going to unmute myself and remember to do that. Where are the other two contestants, Melanie and Scott?
Well, Melanie was right behind Ethel. When Ethel found the red poison flour covered baking sheet, Now Scott is over at his station, and he's like meticulously organizing and reorganizing all of his cooking tools.
Does he have flour on him?
Not that you can see.
Hmm.
But his bow tie is a little askew.
Uh-oh. So Nelka is... She's gonna try to do like a grandmotherly thing, but she is not grandmotherly. So she's gonna be like, so... You know, you're young and spry. Are you seeing anyone?
And he's like, and why would that be of any interest to you?
Well, I don't have any grandchildren of my own, but my sister has 18, and she always asks that question, so I was just curious.
18. And he's like, well, I am not seeing anybody at the moment. I mean, my polycule just broke up. I'm kind of a free-floating person.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And he's just like,
sorry to hear
what
that.
is this weird old lady asking me questions about if I have somebody? Like, what does that? And he just like keeps moving like his little salt and sugar containers like left and right, and keeps nudging it and nudging it and nudging it.
Well, I'm definitely not one to judge, and I am definitely, what you do is your business. But I'm sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate. Are you from around here? I don't think I've seen you all too often.
I do have an apartment here, so
Okay.
yes. Technically, I'm a resident of Brindlewood Bay. Technically.
Interesting. Where are you normally from? Big city, Boston, New York, one of those exciting places.
Oh, actually, Atlanta.
Where is Paul from?
Paul is British.
Okay, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
Since it's a British show, it's like.
Well, I do hope the show can still go on. It's unfortunate, but I won't particularly miss Paul.
And he kind of looks at you and says, well, I mean, you probably know about my last appearance on the Jolly Good Baking Show. I mean, Paul and I did have that explosive on-camera argument over, a pan of what he said was overbaked muffins.
I do remember that, yes.
I mean...
Not to worry. I think anyone would have lost their cool in that situation.
I mean, yes, he was not always let's say he was not always my favorite person, but I do adore the show, and I'm honored that they let me come back to try again.
Yes, he is more puffed up than a croissant. Or was. I did... Well, hopefully the show can still go on, otherwise they'll have to renew a season, and... I mean, it would be a shame if they stopped the show because of what happened.
Yes, it definitely would. But then, let's be honest, Jane Leaf should be able to carry this. I mean, Paul was amazing, yes he was, but Jane is just the best. Alright, so while you guys are talking, are you gonna try and meddle and check out his station?
Yes, she's trying to kind of keep him on his toes and kind of throw the conversation side to side so that he just doesn't know quite how to react. But then she's also trying to sympathize with him because she cannot stand Paul either.
Yeah, you definitely got him off his guard just by the first question. So, you know, the more you talk to him, the less he's paying attention. So if you would like to, like, kind of investigate a station while you're doing that, like kind of be a little bit nosy, you could do a meddling move, and I would say on presence, just so you can keep him distracted while you're doing that.
Okay. Alright, let me double check. Alright, and I'm rolling 2d6, right?
2d6 plus whatever modifier you have in presence.
Yeah, that's a 0, so this is a straight d6. And that is an 8.
An 8. All right. So yes, you would be able to find a clue. However, Scott would be aware that you were nosing around, and that you might have been messing with his station. So you could decide if you would like to do that. Also, one of these things that you could do is you could put on a crown to actually level this up a band to make it just a clear success, or you could save that for when you actually fail.
I'll save it. I think I like to think that Nelka is letting him see. I mean, obviously the role is what decided, but I like to think that Nelka is letting him see that she's meddling, because she probably picked up on him being suspicious of Ethel. So now he's making him suspicious of her, and she just wants to pile on his paranoia to see if he, like, maybe snaps or reveals something or makes a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
She's fucking with his head. Mostly because it's fun. So yeah, I'll take the clue, but he sees what she's doing.
All right. So, I just roll for it. So while you're just trying to distract him, you realize one of Jane and Paul's cooking books that they co-authored together, you know, kind of branding it on the baking show, is laying open, and there's a page of one of Paul's recipes. It's like mostly torn out. It's like you can see that on the left side, you know, it has the recipe for this cake on it and his name on it, but the next page is just like violently ripped out. Thank you.
Well, did that cake not turn out well? It seems you violently tore it out of your book.
And he looks at you, and he's kind of getting huffy, and he's like, "I don't even know why any of this is your business. Please leave me be."
I'm a nosy old lady. It's a thing we do. And she walks off.
So as the end of you know, little time for investigation, you know, comes nearer. Everybody is joining in at the set again. There's Bug with his camera. There's, you know, all the sound dudes. There's everybody at the station. Melanie still looks like she's chewing off her nails, and you could see she actually got some of the flour on the floor because she was making sure that there was no rat poison in her flour. And Heath Hendricks is like, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready. Everybody to their stations." And he holds up his hands, and he says, "This is the biscuit round. For the Americans here, this is the cookie round. Biscuits, yes. and he says 5, 4, and he looks at Buck and he's like, and it starts rolling. What kind of cookies are your mavens cooking? What is Evelyn baking?
Gingerbread snaps.
Ooh, very nice. How's that going?
She's on her second attempt already. She kind of rushed a first batch, and it's kind of a bit dry and crumbly and getting a little too toasty in the oven. So she's quickly trying to make another batch.
Yeah, as that is happening, the lovely Jane loves by looks at your first batch and says, well, my dear, I might have to get you a bigger trash can. And just, walks on over and checks on Gordon. How's Gordon doing?
Good. He is working on sort of like these orange thumbprint cookies that, like, in the middle he has this to sort of complement the orange, he has basically made like a I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. I believe it's a Hispanic thing. I think it's called mole is the name of it, where basically it's like chocolate that has like a little bit of spice in it. I think in particular cayenne, if memory serves. So he's kind of working on finishing up the first batch of those as she walks by.
Mm-hmm. And Jen's like, I did not expect you to like it spicy. And she keeps on walking.
Yeah, you gotta try things a little bit different every now and then.
And she walks by she walks by Scott's station, and he is kind of trying to make some very prim and proper cookies, like shortbread. Nothing special, totally vanilla. And she's just like, how do the Americans say? Bless your heart. And, she keeps on walking, and she stops at Ethel's station. What is Ethel making?
Ethel's working on some scones.
Ooh.
Yeah, raisin scones. Planning to put some whipped cream on top afterwards. And whatever fruit she can scavenge up because she forgot to bring some.
That definitely sounds good. And Jane kind of stops, and she's like, scones. Trying to butter us up, won't you? I don't mind, Miss Ethel. I would love some of those. And she keeps on walking. And Melanie is trying to cut out and decorate some sugar cookies. It seems like she really knows what she's doing, but then, her parents had a bakery. She, even though she's a little shaky, she did the outlines on the sugar cookies, and she's like trying to spread, the icing. And Jane walks by, and she just looks, steady hands. Very important in this job. If you don't have steady hands, And Melanie's just like, yeah, totally steady. And Jane keeps on walking, and she looks over Margaret's station to see how she's doing.
I'm making 7-layer bars, which go by a bunch of different names, but the sort of chocolate chip, butterscotch chip, condensed milk, coconut, everything, because Margaret is avoiding anything related to flour like it's literally laced with rat poison, because it is. So we're making cookies that are kind of technically under that umbrella, but don't require any flour.
Yeah, and Jane's just like, interesting choice. Technically biscuits. We'll see. We'll see if these will be tasty. and just kind of walks on over to Nelka to check on Nelka and see how she's holding up.
Nelka is making Le Boudoir cookies, or ladyfinger cookies as they would be known in Britain. Yeah, and she's got some powdered sugar and some things that'll go with it, vanilla, that kind of stuff.
All right, and Jane just kind of looks at Nelka, kind of bites her lip. She doesn't say nothing. She walks away.
Oh, you don't have any comments?
Maybe she just knew better this time.
Well, I just thought maybe you could learn something from these lady fingers, because they'll actually be enjoyed by another man.
Good that Jane did not hear that, because she was already walking away. But there's Buck with the camera straight at you, and he is just like... And Heath is like, did you get that? Did you get that, Buck? We definitely need that. Did you get that? Right, so now as this round is coming to an end, all of your creations are gonna be set aside, and Heath is calling. All right, we need a little bit of more time to reset. Take at least 20 minutes, please. Ladies and gentlemen, 20 minutes, and we'll have our final round, and then we'll go to the judging. All right, what are my ladies doing? Do my ladies and gentlemen need a break?
I think good right now would be a good bio
Bathroom break
time.
Do some stretching, get some refills.
Yeah.
Do some thinking about who might have done this and why.
I mean, I think we all know it's Nelka, but I'll protect you with my life, so...
We will
I
all
don't
cover
even care.
for
I'm not even
Nelka.
mad.
We'll make sure she has an alibi.
She would not have used something as pedestrian as rat poison. It would have 100% been nerve agent.
I mean, yes, that
Truth.
tracks.
Awesome.
Or
Well,
something
pedestrian.
radioactive.
Today, the Jolly Good Baking Show has made it to Brindlewood Bay, and part of our murder mystery mavens have made it to the televised finals. They were making their special desserts when suddenly Donna Rivera, the wife of Paul Rivera, one of the judges and the producers of the show, was found dead in his trailer, covered in flour, with his hands tied behind his back. So our murder mavens were enlisted by the sheriff, Wyman Dalrymple. We're going to say this name all day long, all night long, because Wyman Dalrymple is just the best name. Because he knows these ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to get their nosy, fingers out of this. So he's like, just help me, please. This is going to really, really reflect badly on me for my re-election next year. This is an international show. If you can just help me figure this out without causing a stir, that would be amazing. Now, they did some investigating. They went into the biscuit round, cookie round, and now it is time for another 20-minute break before the last round. The cakes will start. All right, my mavens, take it away. What are y'all gonna do?
Evelyn, I guess would be kind of like trying to clean her station. She still doesn't know how she made it to the final round. Probably figures nepotism. Had a part to play. She's looking at her second batch of gingerbread, and they were a bit too crispy as well.
I mean,
guess we-
technically... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I was just saying to Evelyn, I mean, technically speaking, I didn't even really make cookies because... And she just motions for everybody to, come over. there was definitely something up with the flower that killed Paul. I suspect the flower killed Paul. Not exactly sure how, but he looked all like bruised and discolored facial skin where the flower hit him.
Ah, yeah, that'd be the warfarin.
Everyone just kind of like turns. Excuse me.
What? No.
I didn't have a chance to show anyone before the cookie round, but I just reached under a thing just off screen, or off camera, and pull up this crumpled up cookie sheet. And when I open it up, like this odd sort of almost stale smell comes out of it. It smells like rat poison. If he got that on his face, got in his skin, that'd kill him.
Are we sure 100% that none of us has been cooking with this recently?
Oh, I can smell
Everybody's
it.
hands okay?
Maybe it's a good thing that I burnt the cookies.
Yeah. So, killed by rat poisoning.
Should we show this to
clues
the
that
sheriff,
leads?
or...?
You know...
Well... Oh, screw the sheriff.
Let's come to him with something all like neatly tied with a bow. What's he going to do? I mean, the book club just ends up taking care of things anyway. Like,
Yeah, he's just gonna go after the wrong person, and then things are gonna get wrapped up too soon, and then it'll be more of a mess for us, I think.
it's true. It's
Besides,
a lot
he
of
has
work.
to worry
still
more
getting
about
to go.
tourists driving too quickly through the town center.
Exactly. One thing I did figure out, it seems like a lot of people could have been out to get him. Although I have, because apparently, he didn't want to pay a lot of the crew their worth. Now, there was, a couple that stood out to me, because I only talked to really two people. I'll be honest that I'm still suspicious of his wife, but the other woman that was there when I was talking with Donna was Jane, right?
Yes,
Okay.
the judge.
And it's like, that other judge, Jane, seemed to, not want to lose the position she had in this kind of whole thing. And I don't know, but Donna didn't really seem all that upset that her husband was gone. Especially for how long they've been married, you'd think she would have been grieving a little more.
Could have been a financial thing from the start.
That's why she's my prime suspect. If she did it, maybe Jane was an accomplice of hers?
Or vice versa. Somebody had to have gotten access to the trailer, and it seems... Well, his wife was staying there, but it seems likely that his, co-judge would have come over at some point. Maybe they strategized. Maybe this is all just rigged from the beginning, and they've decided whose things that they like best just based off of those audition videos that we had to send in. I don't know.
Evelyn's just gonna take like a glare at Scott. It's probably gonna be him again.
Oh, well, I did talk to him.
Oh.
This was his second time on this show. Apparently the last show, which I haven't watched this show because... he had a big fight on air, I think, with Paul, and he loves the show but doesn't like Paul. So,
Was he going after
is
his
the
job?
show better off without Paul?
Quick question: is one of you mavens actually a fan of the show and watches it?
Evelyn would probably watch reruns of it, so she's probably not up to date.
Do me a favor and roll me a meddling move for reason, and see if you can remember if you heard any gossip or anything about them, about that episode.
Seven.
All right. So you're not 100% sure. You don't really remember that blowout, but you remember when you were kind of looking up, in the papers, the gossip, that people were not 100% sure that they were fighting about the muffins. There was some indication that those two might have been more than colleagues. Nothing was ever confirmed. There was just rumors.
Oh, never is.
That,
Doing it right.
things went bad, and that's why Paul jumped all over him about the overbaked muffins.
Oh, I wish I hadn't fallen asleep through that episode.
Well, Scott did say he was in a polycule. Multiple people are in a relationship, and they recently broke up.
Oh.
Has anyone noticed how him and Donna interact?
I personally haven't.
No. I was a little busy with the rat poison flower all over the body.
She has her
It might
point.
be,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen them speak, no.
He also did have a one of Paul's recipes ripped out of his cookbook.
Ooh, which one?
Some cake. I don't, Paul's got like 19 cookbooks and 87 cakes in them, so.
That's true.
Well, the next round's the cake round, right?
It is.
I have a feeling if we can find out who has that missing page, we might be onto something. I also have an idea. If it's true what everybody says, that Paul wasn't paying everybody, what they were worth, and people were disgruntled about this, who better to go to than one of the camera operators to find out? Maybe they saw something. I
They probably
mean,
know
you
the
heard
most.
that they were rolling footage that entire time that the sheriff went back to look for the body. Maybe they picked something up. They're pretty observant.
Who's the editor?
it could.
Who edits the footage? Looking through,
Indeed.
deciding when to clip and what to put in, and analyzing and looking. Blah, 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 blah.
Heath is the producer, the bald dude with his 3-2-1s, and then Buck is the handsome American cameraman.
I think I want to talk to him. Mostly because he got a really good close-up of that thing with the blowtorch, and I'd like to just make sure that he uses his skills to put me in a flattering light, and not the way that his producer was telling him to, because that just wasn't a really good representation of what was happening. I think we can all agree.
Evelyn's
That's what
nodding.
we're
Get
She knows.
Nelka's burn, though. Nelka's amazing burn that Jane missed.
Oh, the idea that she sees it on air is the first time she sees it is way more satisfying than her actually hearing it in person.
I can hear Nelka cackling already when it gets aired.
Mhm. Ethel, where did you find this poisoned, crumpled up cookie sheet?
Oh, I found it over in the storage room. I don't know why they were throwing garbage in there, so I went and checked it out.
Is that what they would store all the chairs that they pull out for bingo?
Normally, yeah, but
think
there's no chairs right now.
Didn't see any chairs in there, no.
Follow the chairs.
Those generic
I,
padded
big
chairs that are in
chairs.
every building, everywhere
Oh.
that has big events.
Yes. All right. So Margaret is gonna try and talk to Buck. Is
Yes.
Anybody gonna go with her, or
I'll go with.
right? What would the others
Gordon.
like to do?
Sorry. Gordon would like to act on his intuition from the conversation earlier and would like to try to sneak into Jane's trailer.
Nice.
I like that. I like that idea. All right.
Okay.
What about Ethel and Nelka?
Well, I was thinking Ethel probably wants to go out and sneak a quick smoke before the next round, and since we're not likely to have time to go, do our comfy thing, like play cribbage or whatever, maybe this is where the scarecrow clue comes up.
Okay.
That is a good idea. So Ethel is gonna head out for a smoke. And what about Miss Nelka?
Does anyone need assistance with their tasks?
Gordon would gladly take some.
Okay.
I like this.
He's an old man trying to sneak into a trailer. Like,
Bring the ex-secretary.
Yes.
All
Well,
right.
this reminds me of that one time at a chateau in the Alps.
Yeah, you know that admiral, just invited us over to that chateau, and France is only like an hour and a half away from Brussels. So yes, it was amazing. All right, let's actually go ahead and let's do Ethel first. Would you like me to roll for the clue, or would you like to decide what kind of clue you find?
Why don't you roll for it? I like that.
All right, let's take my fancy metal die and let's see what you find. All right, what you find is when you were standing behind the. This one's just amazing. I did not expect that one. You stand behind the community center. Going out for a smoke. You're right next to the trash cans, and there seems to be the end of a rolling pin sticking out.
Come on. We got the murder weapon. Yeah, as I'm taking a drag, something catches the corner of my eye, and I reach over and pull out this just whole ass rolling pin. Of course,
Yeah.
Ethel's first thought is, who's throwing out this perfectly good rolling pin?
Yeah, the rolling pin is mostly clean, but there's some flecks of blood on it.
Ugh. Don't really want to know what that is. Maybe I should show it to the girls.
All right. Since we're pretty much going backwards, next let's go to Gordon and Naka, who are trying to sneak into Jane's trailer. Jane is not in her trailer. Jane is actually in the judge's tent, fussing with the decorations. But there's like people milling around. There's nobody really paying a lot of attention to you guys, but there's people like around. How would you like to do this?
Lock?
Oh, it's not locked. They're not locked.
Ooh.
It's
Oh, okay.
Jane would not in a million years think that anybody would go into her stuff. That just doesn't even enter her mind. She's such a star, such a authority figure. She doesn't even think anybody would enter hers. Plus, how is the assistant going to come in and bring her tea if the doors are locked? You guys will just have to make sure.
No, do you
nobody
think you
sees
can
you.
stand watch while I'm in there?
Sure. I'm always
I mean,
happy to run interference.
Excellent. I mean, I guess he's just gonna go inside.
All right, so we're actually gonna do 2 rolls at the same time. Now, Spence, do roll me a meddling move to see if you can find some clues with reason.
Yep.
Why,
got it.
Nelka, I want you to do a day move, which is pretty risky with presence to see if you can make sure that nobody actually catches you guys.
Okay.
So
It spins.
that's actually going to be our first miss of the night. That's a 6.
Ooh, so you can actually miss it, or you could decide to put on a crown and narrate us something to move it one up, to not make it a failure, but a success with consequences.
What do I want to do? It's a good question. You know what? Let's put on the Crown of the Void. Why not?
All right. Okay.
So
what you want to mark the first one with is a shadow in the garden, which means that hereafter, after you every time you have a cozy vignette that is focused on you, or a cozy move scene which involves you, you must also narrate how dark entities subtly reveal themselves in the scene.
Ooh, I love that.
So, what I want you to do is, you'll find this clue, but
Okay.
what kind of maybe supernatural kind of dark entity subtly makes you feel kind of on edge? And let me roll for your clue while you're doing this. Describe how you're looking around, and
Yeah. So I think as he's sort of in this trailer looking around, he doesn't necessarily see it, but he'll just sort of like behind him feel, and you'll see like this formless, almost like shadow with these like piercing yellow eyes behind him in the trailer that he doesn't see, but he does get that odd feeling that he's being watched, and then just will quickly grab whatever this clue is and then scuttle out of the trailer.
Right. So while you were looking for these clues, you actually found a pile of receipts, and it looks like there were some extravagant expenditures. Some champagne, some truffles, and some very expensive red-soled shoes.
Interesting.
All in Jane's name. How did Nelka do?
I got a 9.
All right. So, that is again that's a partial success. Now, if you wanted to, you could put on a crown if you wanted to, and if it's the golden crown, you would narrate us something. You could move it on to a full success. If you're leaving it the way it is, there will be consequences. Somebody will notice you guys and what you're doing. They're not going to call you out, but they know. They saw you snooping.
I think we're gonna let Nelka get seen snooping. I like the idea that she's just cruising through this, and she's like, somebody notices, that's okay.
Right. So, as Gordon comes like scrambling out of the trailer, kind of red-faced, and yes, he definitely found something. You see Donna Rivera leaning against the side of the building. Kind of looks like she's doing the same thing that Ethel is doing, just kind of sneaking a smoke. Looking at you guys, kind of squinted eyes. Interesting. Now that you guys have made this, let's move the camera over to Margaret and Evelyn. You guys are approaching Buck,
Yes.
the camera operator. Buck is in one of the side areas where they have set up a coffee station, and he's doctoring up his coffee with some cream and sugar. How you want to go about approaching him?
Imagine Evelyn kind of like walks up to like the station, and she's like either like waiting in line or like filling up a cup for herself. She kind of like leans over and, so you must get to see all the inside like gossip and fights that happen, eh?
And Buck is stirring his coffee, and he looks at Evelyn, and he's like, wouldn't you like to know?
I would actually.
So would I, Margaret says, and she's just like stealthed up on the opposite side of him, so now he's like sandwiched in between the two of us. She's like, so would I.
And he's like flushing his coffee a little, and he's like, oh, hi.
Hello.
Didn't see you there, Miss Margaret.
Really? I would have thought after you got such a fascinating close-up of me with the blowtorch during the first round, you were perfectly fine with sharing personal space. She
I'm
gives him
completely
this
fine with such pretty ladies sharing my personal space.
Oh,
And he kind of smirks, and at that moment, Dana walks back into the building, and he kind of just like watches her walk across to the bathrooms. No, absolutely, I do adore talking to you ladies. I mean, this has been one of my favorite episodes. It's great to be back in the homeland. I mean, not that these British people know exactly what American is, but I do like working here, yes.
Now, would you say this is your favorite episode because of all the extra drama that's been going on?
I mean, that's kind of entertaining, but it's more because, you know, we're not with all the fancy British people. We're over here with some normal folks. And he just, you know, smiles kind of winningly at you guys, like he's saying, yeah, just like you guys.
So I think it's safe to say that you don't particularly care for British people. In particular, emphasis on the British part of it. Would that be correct?
I mean, it's not my favorite. I mean, to be honest, I mean, this jolly good baking show is just one of the few lights that we can have in this dark, dismal world. I mean, yeah, British might not be my favorite thing to do, but, you know, this whole situation is just so unbearably tragic, isn't it? I mean, just tell me about another show that can bring all these people together, you know? Everybody, like old, rich, poor, black, white. And he's like, it's just something we can all agree on, isn't it? I mean, you know, and then, you know, Paul's gone. I'm not sure if, you know, it's ever going to be the same again. I mean, this light is just a little bit dimmer. I mean, sure, was he hard-headed? Yes, but he was the soul of the show.
The British soul of the show.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's a British show.
Do you think they'll cancel it now?
I hope not. I hope not.
Do you think he's replaceable? Do you know if they were maybe looking to replace him?
I mean, I don't know. I know Heath will have to do with that. And as that happens, the door to the bathroom opens and Donna walks back out, and you can see him like watching her while he's talking. Yeah, that's above my pay grade. And his eyes keep following her.
Is it above your pay grade to chat with Donna much?
Oh, no. Donna's a sweetheart. She always has time for everybody.
Oh, she seems a bit distant. Well, I mean, her husband just was murdered. That can make anyone aloof. But how close does she get with everyone? Does she chat with you often?
I mean, yeah, we have, you know, some kind of philosophical discussions, you know, sometimes, especially, you know, when we're flying to new places. She's a very good conversationalist. He's starting to get the shifty eye.
Kind of philosophical conversations that you have deep into the night with someone, perhaps because you just feel really comfortable with them and you lose track of time when you're together.
I mean, it's not like you can go anywhere else while you're on a plane. And then he's like, "Oh, Heath, yeah. Let's talk about this the sound. Yeah. Sorry, ladies." He takes a coffee and he walks away.
Of course. And Margaret just starts pouring an obscene amount of sugar into the coffee that she's just like stirring and pouring and stirring and pouring. It's gonna be syrup by the time she's ready to drink it.
Everyone's just kind of like just staring at it. And, that's quite sweet. But yeah, something's definitely going on there.
The two of them? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think he was jealous of Paul? Seems kind of weird that he would then kill somebody that would result in the halting of his career, but maybe it was a crime of passion.
Definitely looked like a crime of passion for somebody.
So while you guys are talking, suddenly Heath is like, "All right, everybody back to the stations. The cake round is about to start."
Oh, right, we have to bake a cake.
So fast.
Ooh, now Margaret has to find a way to do a flourless cake. Ooh.
Oh God, it's not gonna turn out well.
All right, so just quickly, we're gonna go around and let me know, how is your cake going and what are you making? So, Evelyn, as you know, Jane is looking around, but Sue, the presenter, she's trying to cheer everybody up. You know, she's a comedian. She comes walking around, and you know, she's kind of in your face, and she says, "Miss Evelyn,
Yeah.
how's it caking?"
It's I hope it's a cake. Though I hope I'm not deflating your mood with this meringue. And she's kind of like trying to fluff up the eggs.
I'm quite sure it's gonna be amazing. She's like, okay, that joke even went over her head. Like, was that a joke? Was she joking? Was that supposed to be funny? And she's just like, and she's like doing the little thing with Tupac, like, and she walks over to Gordon and says, "Mr. Gordon, how's it caking?"
There's like a very exasperated sigh that comes with the punch. It's going fine.
Fine. You know, if you were one of the ladies, I would say fine is a death sentence for this poor cake. Is it? Is this cake on death row?
He looks at the cake, which looks perfectly fine. Do you have eyes, honey?
Your cake looks perfectly passable. Yes, I do have eyes.
Then I would say it's on death row. Now, if you will leave me to make this lavender, vanilla, and brandy buttercream, I will. He just trails off and keeps making the icing.
And she's like, you can see her brain smarting. She's like, all right, I'm gonna lavender away then. And she walks over to Nelka's station and said, "Miss Nelka, how is it caking?" Muted again. Yep, again. Can't hear you. It has to.
Perfectly
It's
fine
Rex.
and
It has
according to
to.
plan as always.
Has
You know.
to. Absolutely. Everything's is the plan to completely whip this cake, then you're doing amaze balls.
Well, it's Karpatka, so.
Oh. What?
Karpatka.
Oh, oh. That sounded like carport. I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. And she walks on over to Margaret and says, Miss Margaret, how is a cake, Ken?
Oh, please, make sure that you're keeping at least 3 feet back. I wouldn't want you to spoil the flavor, she says, as she's like hand churning this sort of ice cream thing. She's making a mint chocolate chip ice cream cake with a bunch of Oreos on the outside to look like icing.
My God,
because she doesn't want to go near the flour. Flour kills people in this game. So we're making an ice cream cake.
Right, and Sue was like, ice cold demeanor. I see. You're gonna do well in this round, aren't you? And she sidles over. Like, okay, this was just not a good joke.
Don't let the freezer door hit you on your way out, honey. And Margaret doesn't even turn around.
And she's like, just talking to herself, grumbling about the joke that she's not like, come on, Buck. And she walks over and she said, Miss Ethel, how is a caking?
Come over here, tell me about the cake, and I'm busy. And as you see Ethel putting a layer of jam of some sort between 2 layers of banana cake.
Oh my God.
And Sue was like, all right, Miss Ethel, you're jamming along. That's great. And
But come jam you if you don't get away from me.
And Sue looks straight at the camera and she's like, yeah, tempers are coming up. This is the last round. You know, pressure is on. And she walks away. Right, all your cakes are ready. They're getting taken to the tent. Now you can see the sheriff walking in. The sheriff looks around. He kind of, twists the rim of his head, and Sheriff Wyman Dalrymple comes over and says, so, what have we figured out?
Well, there is these. Gordon will just pull up what are now very crumpled receipts out from his back pocket. It seems that Miss Jane was making several purchases on what I can only assume is the company credit card in her name. I mean, I had my suspicions about her and Paul's wife from the start, but this only to me says, more motive to cover up the purchase before Paul found out. Actually, I should probably give these to you as evidence, and he'll pull the receipts back out of his pocket and hand them over.
I should probably put them in a baggie.
Margaret just holds out one of those piping bags that you use to pipe frosting onto something. It's not a peelable bag, but it'll do in a pinch. And speaking of evidence, I think we should put a halt to any taste testing for the judging, because as Ethel and I were both able to piece together, Paul was murdered by rat poison masquerading as flour upon his face and mouth. So anything that has flour in it is therefore highly suspicious and might need confiscation.
Well,
And
whatever avoids the
sheriff is like, Sheriff Wyman Dalrymple is like, rat poison. Well, I guess it will come out, during the autopsy, but that is good to know. And he kind of wipes his hands and makes sure, he didn't get any flour in him. So did you Mavens figure out who did it?
Oh, one more thing. I pull out the rolling pin with blood on it.
You didn't use that, right?
That's not
Oh,
yours.
That's
is
not
it?
sanitary. No, I found it in the
just-
garbage.
Just making sure.
And the sheriff is like, Miss Ethel, why do you have a rolling pin with blood on it?
Because she
I found it in
found
the
it.
garbage can outside when I was having a smoke.
We're trying to solve a murder. Do keep up, darling.
There was no blood on this body.
I don't know if there's blood on the body, but there's blood on this.
Did
mean,
you
for all
look
we
under
know,
his
Ethel-
clothes for wounds? You didn't, did you?
Do I look like a medical examiner?
And they
Well,
call
you are a
a
police
sheriff.
officer.
I have not gotten the autopsy back yet. Now, you ladies, you have a theory or not?
I mean, you personally asked me. I think Jane was the one that did it because she was already frustrated enough with the man for not paying her worth of apparently a very notable 60-year career. And he'll sort of take off his glasses. And I mean, with these recent purchases, I mean, if Paul found out about them, surely her career over in a flash. So if you ask me, yeah, she had.
Besides,
Oh yes, please.
who better than his fellow cooking host to disguise rat poison as flour?
And she had access to everything, so only goes to show.
So, on the keeper side, now you guys are freewheeling and theorizing. If
Yes.
your theory is that Jane did it, now we will have to see how many of the clues will you be able to incorporate in your theory or explain away, which will apply to your role to see if this is true. Now you already have included, I would say, both clues for the rat poison because, well, she's a cook. She had plenty of time to include that. You also have included the receipts, so you already have included 3 of the clues.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
The contracts being up for renewals, probably another one.
mhm.
And the fact that she probably also had access to his trailer because she was the co-host. So it wouldn't have been suspicious for her to be going in and out.
Now, how would you guys explain the rolling pin and the cookbook?
I mean, I don't think we can
Well,
reasonably.
the rolling thing is we don't have the autopsy report. Like, we obviously weren't able to examine the body properly. It's just sort of a cursory thing of like, well, he's discolored face, flour, hands tied. Like, the flour could be covering up a big old bludgeoning wound.
It's true.
Might also not even be related. I mean, if there's a
Might
good
not
way
be
to
related.
explain it away, it might not be related.
Someone could have just cut themselves while they were busy cutting out their biscuit dough. We don't know when that
Right.
rolling pin was put in the trash. It could have been anything.
And I mean, with the page being ripped out too, because it was out of Scott was the one. Wait, was it Scott who had the ripped out page? Hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott ripped
Okay.
out.
Scott Lamb, yep.
As a cookbook with the ripped out page. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real way we can explain away that one.
It just might not be relevant at all.
Yeah, very true.
Like, why that page out of that cookbook?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe something personal about like a cake, some kind of like, I don't know, something symbolic or emotional between Riviera and like another character.
Hmm.
that could be related to motive in just sort of an abstract way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you guys think you have settled on a theory that you want to see if it's true?
I want to
Absolutely.
see. Yeah.
Yes.
let's-
What is this theory?
All right. Theory.
You disconnected.
good question.
No,
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
went off and did her own shit
Quick,
for about
quick,
10 minutes.
quick, TLDR to Rex. TLDR.
Yes. So the theory that it was Jane, and her motive was that the contracts were all up for renewal and she wasn't being paid her worth. She had the motive and wanted to, gun for the host thing or the judge thing herself. And then the opportunity being that she had access to the trailer and she was a chef, so she knows about, the rat poison flour thing and the cookie sheet. The two things we weren't able to conveniently explain away were the rolling pin and the ripped out page from the cookbook, but we did have the evidence of the flour, the baking sheet, and the receipts for her using the company credit card. So that's our working theory at the moment, and we were just deciding if we wanted to roll to piece it together.
Yeah, Noka's down for that. She hates Jane.
The pie takes together.
Take her
I
down.
mean, yeah.
All right. Who do you guys want to
for American
roll
prisons?
to see if it's true? Since Rex, you weren't part of this discussion. Would you like to roll to see if their theory is true? Since I'm guessing you would be the one that they have to run it up against and see.
Yeah.
Does this make any sense?
Plus, I feel like if anyone takes Jane down, it should be Nelka. Just because I want to see that. Selfishly, as Margaret and as Anna, I want to see that.
Yes.
So.
Yes, I'm down. I'm so
Yes.
down. So that's, it's 2d6 plus how much?
It is 2d6 plus the amount of clues that you were. It's like 2d6 minus the complexity plus,
Mm-hmm.
So the complexity of this is actually a 7.
Oh.
So, but yeah, because it's how many people it is. It was actually really, you had a lot of suspects. You had a lot of suspects. I made this a little harder on you guys, even though you completely include. It's like Sue was not even on your radar. Sue was she's just a comedian. Who wants to talk to that?
So that's
woman?
why she was kind of mean to us. We ignored her.
Like, you
He was
completely
a
ignored her,
heckling
right?
insult comedian. Ugh.
All right. So, the baking sheet, the poison on the body, the extravagant expenditures, the contracts for renewal. Did I miss anything?
Trailer access.
The trailer access.
All right, which is not 100% a clue that you actually found.
Oh, it's
But
not? Okay.
Oh.
Because you did explain away the rolling pin. Somebody might have just cut themselves. But you know what? I'm going to give you one more, because you guys did realize that, Scott might have a reason why he ripped out this thing. He might have been sore that his relationship with Paul fell apart. So, Rex, roll me 2d6 minus 1.
Okay. Come on, roll high. Roll high.
Fingers crossed.
That is a 10, so -1 would be a 9.
Okay.
All right.
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, and my captions are down. So if
It is a
there
9.
are folks that would not be able to see that.
All right. So, yes, Rex did roll a 9. Now, a 9 is a success, but with complications. Now, what we're going to do is... commercial break! And I'm going to see who is going to have to narrate our commercial to see if you guys can pop this up one band higher. And actually... Anna,
Yes.
You will have to narrate us a commercial on. Let me roll that again. I have a list. Reverse mortgage.
Oh God.
3, 2, 1. Senior commercials on reverse mortgage. Take a deep breath. Commercial break.
Are you running out of money and can't pay your bills? With pension dwindling at the bottom of your savings account much faster than you expected? Did you always hope that the house of your dreams would be passed down to your children, and their children, and their children, and their children? Well, call now for the newest rates on reverse mortgage from wearesleazyasfucklawyers.com. I don't know why we're calling .com, but we are. Do you like having enough money to pass on to your family? Well, guess what? You won't after this reverse mortgage. We will take all of your money. We will break your grandchildren's piggy banks so that we can count every quarter. And we might not even let you keep the house afterwards with this special offer. Call the number on your screen now. And then it's like a bunch of fine print that's absolutely so fast no one could possibly understand what they're saying because of how quickly they're talking.
All right. That was amazing. Honestly,
I hate how easily I just did that.
yes,
smooth.
somebody clip that. Somebody
That was
clip that
impressive.
right now. That goes in Anna's reel. And for that,
Yeah, that
yes.
that goes in Anna's stream reel every day from now until the end of time now.
You totally are 100% sure that that is the correct solution. Now, how do you think you want to take down and confront Jane Leaf, the judgy judge?
How do we want to do this?
Yeah, how you want to do this? The sheriff is
We're
like,
just gonna mean
I'm ready.
girls the shit out of
let's-
her.
Yeah, we're gonna mean girls the
David-
shit out of her.
Yeah, of course. But let's save it until like the taste test, so it's
Yeah, I was just
on
about to say,
fucking
yeah.
camera.
Wait, I have an idea. Let's wait and see whose thing she calls for to judge first. Because if she calls for the non-flower thing, right? Because she knows
Ooh.
something.
I mean, if she's the one who did it, she would know which ones are safe and which ones are not.
That's true.
But the sheriff is like, you know what? You guys figured this out. You doing great for me. I'm leaving this up to you. I'm ready to arrest her. I'm ready. So you guys would like that to happen during the judging?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
we're
yes.
gonna do this live on
As
TV.
confrontational as possible.
All right, so since you guys were talking over there, and here comes Heath. All the contestants to the judging tent, please. It is time for the judging of everybody's goods. And Melanie is all kinds of.
Boy.
I hope I did okay. I mean, I hope I know. I mean, he's not here to judge anymore, but Jane can be so mean, and Scott Lamb just fixes his bow tie and just stalks out. So you guys enter the tent, the American tent, and standing in as an extra judge is Sue, the presenter.
Oh, great.
You hear Gordon very audibly scoff, seeing Sue as a judge.
Like she has any clue, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, in front of y'all, you're standing behind like a hip high table with your special dessert on it. Now, Sue, doing double duty as the presenter, and says, "Now, contestants, before the judges, Jane and I, will start tasting. Please, every one of you, tell me a little bit about your special dessert. Tell the viewers why this is so special that you had to make this as your specialty." And she looks over at Evelyn and says, "Miss Evelyn, what is your special?
Oh, my special cake was supposed to be a sponge cake. I was a little distracted, so it's a little flat. But it's fine. It's fine. It's special because, well, you just do what you can, one day at a time.
Yeah. I hope the scores will not fall flat. She's all kind of weirded out with her own kind of jokes. And then she looks over and she said, "Mr. Gordon, what is your specialty?"
Well, this is something I typically save for family gatherings, and because it takes a lot of effort, as you can see, with the geometrics and the flower-like appearance and whatnot. It's a sort of chocolate cake that I typically use boil down a little bit of a brandy and use some other things to make a sweet but also kind of bitter frosting for it to sort of contradict some of the sweet notes in the chocolate. It's just something I made up. There's not really a whole recipe to it. I just make it and then carve it.
Sweet and bitter. Sue says, "Yeah, that kind of sounds like our Jane, doesn't it? Let's see if she will like it or not." And then she looks over at Nelka. "Miss Nelka, you're special."
This is Karpatka. It is a Polish cream cake. It has 2 layers of pate which is sort of like a puff pastry with a vanilla cream filling center. So not your typical idea of cake, but still is. Many different layers, but you can peel them back and find them to be simple and easy to figure out. And, it reminds me of a time that I just really got to win something against someone that I really disliked. So I figured it was appropriate for today.
And Sue was just like, the more she listened, she's like, fascinating, Miss Nelka, fascinating. Miss Margaret, please tell us about your specialty.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Sue, because you see, my specialty is truly special indeed. Desperate times call for desperate measures, as I'm sure our other judge would know all sorts of things about, considering the desperation she finds herself in with the recent tragic demise of Paul. I also think that our judge would be interested to know that I approached this challenge with creativity, because flour, as we know, can be dangerous. It is more dangerous than sometimes it is cracked up to be. So why not replace it with green mint chip ice cream, the color of money? Who doesn't love money, am I right? And yes, it will begin to melt in the hands of people whose pants might be on fire because of things they may or may not be sharing with the rest of us. And that's why I decided to make mint chocolate chip ice cream cake with Oreos.
Yeah. So Sue's eyes just get bigger and bigger the more you talk, and in the back Jane was drinking her tea, and she kind of like looks at you like, all right, and she kind of motions to Sue. Go on. And Sue's like, all right, Miss Ethel, your specialty.
Yeah, I made a 2-layer banana cake because I had some bananas going bad in the freezer. And
The most granny reason ever.
there was a sale on some blueberry jam, so I put that between the layers, and then I just put some cream cheese icing over the top.
Thrifty. Very good. Yeah. All right. Let the judging begin. And there's people running around. They're cutting pieces of the things, and they're taking them up to the table. What's happening next? Tell me. Now that all the dessert is going up front.
When do we stop people from eating stuff?
And the sheriff is like hanging by the door, just like.
When do we get her ass arrested?
Oh, why not right now?
Do it now!
Yeah.
Or we do our usual bit. I think, whose turn is it to go this time?
I think it's
Start it
yours
off.
this time, actually.
Not it.
Oh, is it?
Do it! I set you up perfectly, go!
Okay, I'm a little rusty. It's been a few years. All right, just like Milan, and she goes up. So Jane, what do you think of
dear.
the? Have you tried any? Has she tried any yet?
No,
Or-
not yet. Sue has just settled behind their table, and they the assistants are setting out a plate of each of the desserts in front of them. They have their little notepads. They're getting ready to taste test.
So before you taste test, which I'm afraid with the events going as they are, you won't be able to. And I will let you know before all is revealed live. I hope you run. It's been a while since I've had to chase somebody, and it's just one of my favorite things.
As she says
And Heath
that,
and Heath is like,
Gordon,
Buck, whatever's going on, zoom in.
Gordon,
You gotta get this.
Gordon just hands out like those weird like strawberry candies that every grandparent seems to have, and just hands one out to each of the other mavens, and just unwraps his and starts chewing / sucking on it as
Yes,
milk
There's a
goes
background
down.
crinkle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amount of time.
Because there's no way to open these things quietly.
No.
No.
And I imagine we're still mic'd and everything, so it's just like.
Oh, it's
Crinkle
awful.
to crinkle.
It's the worst microphone feed ever. Yeah.
So, she walks up and she has a fork, and so she'll like take a bite of something, whatever's closest. Go, tastes of motive being not getting paid enough for your experience. I mean, you've been doing this for so long. You should have gotten a bigger cut than Paul, but he was always just so stingy he never paid anybody enough. He was about to run the show into the ground after all, just out of money. I mean, it's a popular show. It makes more than enough money. You travel all over the place with equipment and people, and you make money, and everybody's watching all over the country and world. But you just spent so much money that even with your salary and your cut, you just couldn't get it, and you just weren't able to live the lifestyle you wanted to live, and he was just in the way. And then she goes and eats, like, takes a bite of the next thing. Has flour, but no rat poison, which is what you threw in Paul's face after tying him up to ensure that he died it's a pretty painful death. You know what that stuff does to your nervous system? It's brutal. It is just, it stops the communication of how muscles work. So he basically just suffocated because he couldn't breathe. Very, very brutal. Which is unfortunate because this cake smells really good. Like, just the fragrance of it, the sweetness, the aroma, which is decidedly not what he would have smelled. And I mean, the opportunity is what this one tastes of, because you had access to his trailer. You didn't have to break in. They were either always unlocked, which is terrible physical security, by the way. Lock your damn doors, America.
And windows.
And windows. Check your windows. Second floor, too. Don't assume things. But even if it was locked, he would have let you in. He knew you. He trusted you. And that's how you were able to get close enough to do what you did, which is murder Paul
Riviera.
Yes, Riviera.
I got you. The girls stick together.
That's her putting her thumb up. So, are you going to go quietly? Because we have all of the evidence. We've turned it over to the good sheriff over here, and he's going to make the arrest. Or are you going to run and make this a lot more fun than this whole tragedy of a show has been?
Well, do me a presence roll.
Okay.
Let's see if she is intimidated enough.
That is a 5. So no, she is not.
All right. So, now a 5. 5 is complete and utter failure. Would you like to put on a crown to change that, or would you just like to see what happens?
I just want to see what happens because I want to see how we all react.
Alright, so Jaden's doesn't seem very impressed by what Nelka is saying. And the next thing you know, she has grabbed a plate and hit Nelka in the head. And Nelka is crumbling on the floor. Now.
Oh God. Oh God.
Can I
God.
fight back at all? Or
Yes, Kate. It's take a little cut if you would like to reel it back, because maybe the director didn't like the way this went in the show, right? Maybe this was not what they wanted to do. You could put on one of the crowns and make it a partial success and tell us how, despite her hitting you in the head, you still catch her.
Does Ethel still have the bloody rolling pin?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she does.
Okay. So Ethel kind of blocks the attack, but because she's old, she kind of stumbles. And as Jane tries to run, Nelka's gonna tell Ethel to get her with the rolling pin.
All right.
All right. So,
Here's back.
I'm guessing you're gonna put on the crown of the queen to make that happen.
Yes, please.
All right. Now, if you look at your character sheet, the crown of the queen is you can narrate a flashback or narrate a scene in the present day. Pick one of them, and this is the flashback that you can that you know. We will incorporate into the recut of this episode for you to change the directions. Maybe the actress is like, this is not how my character would do this. Now, it could be a fond memory of your late partner, imperfect sister, or how you were imperfect as a sister or daughter, as a mother. Never mind. Fondest memory with children, or a scene in the present day, a private side of you that very few get to see, a burgeoning romance, or how you satisfied your physical desires. Tell us something about Nelka, the present day or in the past.
So,
and don't forget to mark it.
Okay, so the where do I mark that?
It's scroll it down, so that you know you already did this one, so you can't do it again.
Okay, yes. So, one of the ways that she satisfies her physical desires is she does Tai Chi, because regular martial arts, while she's fantastic at them, is a little too high impact. Because you can't out-train age, and she's old. So she does Tai Chi, and so when she went up to block, she still kind of stumbled, but she caught the plate like this above her head. And that was it was just a reaction from her doing the Tai Chi and keeping herself as active and physically fit as you can when you're 85.
Right. All right. So as the audience sees Nelka facing down Jane, the camera swoops in as Jane tries to hit Nelka with the plate. Nelka saves herself, and here comes the brave sheriff. The brave sheriff, Wyman Dalrymple, and slams the cuffs on her still upraised hand that she used to slam, or try to slam the plate on Miss Nelka, who was too fast for her. Not so fast, lady, and this is the end of the recipe for you. And this is...
I like this, Sheriff.
Where the episode will end. Thank y'all for joining us.
Yeah.
I love this. This was so cool.
We solved a murder!
Yes.
I sounded really cheerful about that, but yeah.
Yeah, somebody died!
Somebody died.
But nobody we liked.
I also
Yeah.
apologize wholeheartedly
It's
for
fine.
that horrific reverse mortgage thing that just popped out
What are
of
you
my
kidding?
head.
That was
That
amazing.
Like,
But that legit reminded me of one of my favorite comedians. You killed it.
It was
Yeah, that was like...
you were like, it's Anna, and I'm like, oh shit, oh no, what's happening?
It was not
into a
me. I
fugue
wrote
state.
this. I wrote
Like,
this.
that was-
Yeah.
That was fun.
Thanks so much for joining in and playing this, and for everyone watching, hope you all had as much fun as we did. And we'll go around real quick and introduce yourselves one more time. Say who you are, where people can find you, and if there's any other moment that was your favorite than the reverse mortgage commercial. and we'll start with we'll go around in the other order of Vivacia.
All right. So, hi, I'm Vivacia of Vivi. You can find me all over the Discords as Vivacia. On the Twitter, I'm Miss Vivacia, MRS Vivacia. It's so hard to pick a favorite because there were so many amazing moments. I loved Nelka's burn towards Jane. I adored this very dry, oh, by the way, I found this bloody rolling pin. Which was just like, what? You found a what? So I cannot even pick one of my favorites. It was just like one moment after another of like, it's good that, and once I actually, spit my tea. So, yes, and I really hope everybody has as much fun as I did, because again, there was no set outcome to this mystery. I rolled randomly for the clues to see, and all of these awesome people put it together into an actual theory and solve this murder. Okay, they did the sheriff's work for him. Sorry, woman.
Spencer.
There we go. Mute button. Wonderful thing.
You learn from me. My 7 mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta learn from the best, man. But... yeah. Oh, this was a ton of fun. I didn't know what I was getting into at first. Whenever I first decided, almost as a joke, whenever Vivasia first put out the Twitter post, like, yeah, I'll be an old person in a baking competition. And then this happened, and it was a ton of fun. Everything about it was a ton of fun. But anyway, what am I up to? In about 3 weeks, you will see me over on Weave the Tale, where I will be GMing a one-shot of one of my new favorite tabletop RPGs of Masks: A New Generation, with a really wonderful cast lined up. And then I believe the week after that, on so that'll be February 23rd. And then the first Friday of March, I will also be on Weave the Tale as part of their Blue Rose West Marches campaign. And I'm very excited for that. So yeah, that's where I'll be in the coming month or so.
Nice. John, what about you?
Hi, I'm Jonathan, or Great Canadian Guy. I'm a full-time streamer. I stream 5 days a week. Variety of things. As for tabletop, I have been streaming a Pathfinder game set in the Forgotten Realms on Saturdays, coming up on its 2nd anniversary. Hopefully it'll be winding down soon so I can play something else. But yeah, you should drop by at twitch.tv/Great Canadian Guy. That's spelled out, not with the number 8. That's just my Twitter. Yeah, you could definitely do worse.
Oh, thank you.
And
Anna.
he is an amazing DM. The one and only time I played Pathfinder, and I had a blast. Normally, I am not the crunchiest lover, but that was a lot of fun. I loved it.
Nice. Anna, what about you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Anna. I go by 6 String Games on the internet, which is the number 6 and then String Games. That's the game making business that I run with my best friend Colin. We actually just released our first ever published / co-authored game that the two of us have been working on together for a while, and some of you all got to play it. It's called Ray Cats, where you are super swole nuclear mutant apocalypse cats that change color when they're near radiation and get cool superpowers. It's super easy to pick up and play. It's like a little foldy zine thing. The game's out on itch now if you want to play it. And my favorite moment from this game, there were a lot of them. Like, I've never played this game before, but I love this genre of like TV and book. And weirdly, like, I loved all the murdery parts a lot. But my favorite part was everyone doing their food descriptions, because I was like, we just described somebody dying, and yet I'm so hungry because everyone's just like giving off all of the best descriptions of cookies and cakes, and it was also a fun challenge because, like I said, we don't know like what the clues are going to be, so I had no idea flour was going to be the murder weapon, and then I'm like, okay, gotta come up with all of my flourless desserts that I know. So yeah, that was super awesome. Thank you all.
It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then Rex, what about you?
I am Rex. I am on Twitter at JTRex2249. Pictures of cats, sometimes my silly cosplays, sometimes posting me when I'm on random one-shots. Sporadically. This was a lot of fun. I have not played a game quite like this before that I can think of. I've played with Anna, Vivi, and Spencer before and quite often, so I do want to say to May and Jonathan that it was wonderful playing with y'all. I hope I get to do it again soon. Y'all were awesome. I think my favorite moment was the random creature from the dark that saw Gordon doing his pilfering and was not explained at all and not mentioned because, yeah, that probably happens around here, so...
that was
Brindlewood
weird.
Bay monster.
Anyway.
So, but, whatever. There's mean baking British people to catch. So, yeah, this was a lot of fun. Appreciate all of y'all and for being here.
Oh, thanks so much. And I may, hopefully more stuff will happen on my channel. Otherwise, I can be found on Stella Luna's Twitch channel Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern for Unbound, 5e homebrew campaign of various uncaged anthologies that subvert tropes of women in mythology, and where we like to smooch all the NPCs, or at least want to. Because everyone's hot, obviously. And then every other Thursday, I can be found on Runaway Robot _ channel. For Diefall Crimson, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's going to be next Thursday. Tomorrow's the next Thursday. Not tomorrow, but the following Thursday. And then there were so many favorite moments. Yeah, like this. I love Murder, She Wrote, and I love this game. And it's just so chaotic and wonderful and wholesome in all the best ways. And just thank you, everyone, to agree to play and be on my channel and hang out with me for an evening.
Thanks for having me. For real.
Yeah, and May is amazing. You might not say it much. May did this overlay. May made the intro. May made sure we had all the music. This is all on her. So if you are here and you haven't hit that follow button, you better join her Discord. You better bug her so we can play again. And yes, all of them may love. All of them may love.
Thank you.
Do it or no,
she ain't gonna see it herself. So.
Oh God.
We'll show up and poison your flower.
Yeah, you might see her, you might not.
Yeah, follow.
You might find a bloody rolling pin that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
We'll
Lesson
just put
here,
one there.
Lesson here: don't tick off the murder mavens. All right, with that, everyone, thanks so much for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.